Hey friends, welcome back to Rita Talks. I'm Rita, and on this YouTube channel, I just share some of the thoughts, ideas that I've been thinking about, some of the things that have been going on in my life. And in today's video, I'm not exactly sure what to talk about. I mean, I have a few topics in mind, but yeah, let's just pick one of them. So basically today, it is 3:21 a.m. and I'm back to my terrible sleep habits. But it's also for a good reason that I stayed up this late. But yeah, I will tell you more about that in a bit. But anyway, I wanted to talk about like the main idea that I wanted to talk about today is basically a lot of appreciation for the content that Nick Bear is making. And because basically today I watched I think his July 4th sale video. So basically the biggest day ever in BPN history. I think that was the name of the video if I remember correctly. And basically July 4th, 2024. That was a few, like maybe 15 days ago. And I think they published the video maybe 4 or 5 days ago at the time that I'm filming this. And basically it was just a really cool video showing what this kind of sale thing looks like. And actually it was very interesting because it's very similar to Amazon Prime Day. I mean, I work at Amazon as a software engineer, and basically actually we just had Prime Day yesterday and today. So basically July 16th and 17th. And basically Prime Day is like a lot of, like, we can't do anything because there's so much traffic on our systems that basically we can't deploy any code changes or anything like that. But basically it was very cool actually to see something similar. Like I was starting to draw like some parallels between the two, between Prime Day and basically what Nick Bear was doing for BPN sale, so July 4th sale. And basically it's like spending, like, actually I was quite impressed with their fulfillment kind of tech. They have this kind of that looks very cool. I think it's like maybe a less good version of the kind of tech that we have at Amazon. Like it's by watching this kind of stuff that I realize how far ahead Amazon is with regards to this kind of stuff. Like literally, he was like, him and his team were manually updating the prices of the listed items on the website. And I'm like, don't they have automation to be able to do that? And then I realized actually the only reason that that's how I think is because of where I work. And we take so much of that for granted. But I guess that's what you get with a business that's been around for as long as Amazon has been. So almost a 30-year business. So I think the first shareholder letter was 1997, which is actually the year that I was born. And I'm 26 years old, almost 27 years old. And I think, I guess the company was started a few years ahead of that, maybe 3 or 4 years ahead of that. And that just goes to show like the kind of progress that you can make on that kind of time scale. And he was talking about how proud he was of what BPN has, like how far BPN has come from basically his college room where he started it, basically I think with his brother in 2012, and a decade in, or a little over a decade in, this is where they've gotten with all of the automation and stuff. And actually it's very impressive to see. And I guess the reason that I'm like, I used to take it for granted is because I'm an engineer, and like we just assume that everything is already perfect in all of the businesses and that everyone has already automated everything. But looking at things like this makes me realize that it's very far from being the case, and even just something as small as automated updates of prices that I take for granted because of the kind of systems that I get to work on every day. It just kind of puts things into perspective and makes me appreciate the kind of systems that we have in place where I work, and I actually also allows me to see like how far companies like this that are already quite successful, so BPN, how far they still have to go to reach whatever a company like Amazon has accomplished over the past almost 30 years. So that was very inspiring actually. I got to draw a lot of parallels with like the kind of stuff that I work on. And yeah, it's actually quite humbling. It makes me kind of proud of the work that I get to do, and kind of puts it into perspective and like makes me realize how cool it is to be working for a company of this scale, and kind of inspired me like, okay, I have this perspective of like I know how far we can take it just because of the example that I have from my day-to-day work. Like, and I know where people start because from looking at this kind of content, like, I know basically when you start to build a business, you start from very like insanely rudimentary stuff. There is no automation whatsoever, all of that stuff. And you just have to keep working towards this vision until you make it happen. And I know it's possible because I see it in my day-to-day job. And I see how much of a diff there is between everyone else and whatever it is that we're doing. And because of this unique perspective, if I manage to keep it, but I guess that's why I'm filming this video. If I manage to keep this perspective, like I could potentially apply it to maybe my own business at some point. But that kind of makes me grateful to be working where I work, and like it kind of makes me realize like all of the opportunities, like how lucky I am to be able to see this, because it's like such a unique perspective. And if you like, I'm really happy to have this perspective because it kind of makes me excited about all of the opportunities that I have to learn. And this is exactly like what this phase of my life is about, just learning as much as I possibly can and looking at how things from the very small go into the very large, and how basically even in big companies like the company that I work at, you have so much agency to make things happen. And that was my biggest realization is, I mean, especially in Amazon, because we have such a peculiar culture where like basically the culture is built around autonomy, making everyone feel empowered and feel like an owner, basically be owners of the company, of their work, of things that they see, and through that agency, it's that agency is very liberating for someone like me who likes to improve on things, because I know that, for example, let's say I see something wrong, I don't have to play any, I mean, yes, sometimes there are politics, but the way that I see it is that it's just information, right? The only thing is that you have to put the right information in the right person's hand, and because you have the same values, you will come up, the outcome would be the right decision, right? When you have all of the information at hand. So the way that I just see like improving anything or making anything happen is literally expressing it in a way that it's evidently clear what's the right decision to make, because like basically the hard part is gathering all the data in a way that's objective and like that's as close as possible to reality in order to be able to make that decision. And it's all about bridging that gap and like shedding light into some specific problem. Let's say you see something is wrong, it's kind of your responsibility to take ownership of that and come up with a doc that explicitly details this problem and gathers the right data points to be able to like make a convincing case that this problem is worth solving. And I can guarantee you, if you make a good enough case, like your leadership will be more than happy to support you in that endeavor. You just have to be like you just have to make it so clear why this is important. And of course, you should not feign importance just because you think it's important. It actually has to be important. If you can see something and you really think it's important, you have to find the data points to support it. And with those data points, if you put it in the right way that allows everyone to see the problem exactly as you see it and see why it's such a big problem and why it's worth solving, then you won't have a hard time convincing people. But the hard part is transforming a nudge, like basically an intuition that you have that there is a problem and something is wrong, and then transforming it into like going out and finding the right data points, finding out the truth that supports this kind of intuition that you have and that allow to make this case. And that's the hard part, and that's why everyone keeps complaining like, oh, things are bad because there's clearly this problem and they don't want to solve it. But the truth is, it's not that there's clearly this problem and they don't want to solve it. Is you can see that there is this problem, but you have not been articulate enough to be, or basically you have not sought the right data points to be able to make the case, the objective case for why you need to solve it. And so because that's the hardest part, people just get stuck on the first part. Like, I have an intuition, I see that this is wrong, but it's too much work to be able to express it in a way that kind of like makes it evident for other people why this is a problem that's worth solving. And so the problem remains unsolved and you keep complaining and all of that stuff. And I'm kind of glad that as a company, like we have this culture of agency and ownership, basically empowers anyone to be able to come up with such suggestions, such documents that make a convincing case for anything. You just have to be dedicated enough to solving that specific problem to actually go out and seek these data points that support that intuition that you might have and be persistent with it. And yeah, I think that's the skill that most times is lacking for any failure in anything. I mean, no, that's probably not true, but for any failure in like something that you see that should be changed, but basically it's the lack of persistence that I've also seen it in myself over and over again. That's why I'm able to spot it. And things are not gonna fix themselves. You have to take agency. Like, no one is gonna solve your problems for you. You have to solve them for yourself. And if you see something, you're probably the right person to solve this problem, because probably not that many people have the perspective that you have to be able to kind of pinpoint why this is a problem. So it's kind of your responsibility to take ownership of that problem and make sure that it's presented in a way that actually reflects the level of importance and like how big of a problem it is. And then the decision can be made with this basically tacit information made explicit. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I just went on a tangent. But anyway, I can now tell you why I'm up until now. So now it's 3:38 a.m. But I was just making some code changes because I've just noticed that when it comes to new domains, like if I'm trying to learn something, I learn it better um, in the evening. And so I was just trying to figure some stuff out with some of the code changes on my new project. And I find that I'm incredibly more patient in the evening with code changes and like trying to get to the bottom of something that I'm not able to understand yet. And so, yeah, I was just working. Basically, the flip side to that is that I also had like a lot of meetings today. And in between meetings, because I didn't have long enough slots to be able to do any deep work, I just took naps in between meetings. So yeah, I kind of made up for that by staying up until now, trying to make some progress, and I did. I created a CR, a code review, and made some progress on my next project, so that I can tomorrow ask about the blockers and ask for some help on that. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about for today. Thanks a lot for tuning in. You can click here to watch my previous video on this channel, Stone right before this one, or you can click here to watch my latest video on the channel overall. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic rest of day, night, whichever time of day it is where you are right now. Bye for now, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye bye.